तु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. We are entering into the next understanding. We will understand that how this master wrote this beautiful text, which every master refers. Every master refers. So we have already made a foundation, ultimate journey. We have made a foundation. I explained that what exactly is the 360-degree understanding, or if you, oh, whether we have to go for desire fulfillment or self fulfillment. Answer is self fulfillment. And in the desire fulfillment, we have three areas. Now, making an effort and then enjoying the pleasure and living a righteous life. So these three factors creates a harmony. And once we strike the harmony in the external world, even while living in the world, we don't have any challenges. Problems comes and goes. Problems will definitely, world itself is a problem. There are no problems in the world. Every day we have a challenge. So, but inner harmony helps us. Now is the time to go for self discovery by understanding. And then I underlined the 9 steps I have to keep in my mind. Those 9 steps. If you closely examine and remember Mangalacharan, 4 connections, fourfold practices, 3 karma yoga, and then we redirect the emotion. That is the 5th is the upasana. And so once we start doing these 5 steps, the 6th step is the listening, learning, and understanding. So then contemplation and reflection, and ultimately we undergo different stages of meditation that results into awakening. Why we are following this? Because our mind has a doubt regarding the validity of the teaching. So that doubt has to be removed by knowledge. Doubt. And the second problem is the validity about the object we realize. What is the object? Object is real self. Third is the projection. Imagine pleasure is there, imagine pain is there. We claim I am suffering. We are not worthy of suffering. So that is the projection. And ultimately, the fourth problem is the ignorance. Now, see, all the 3 factors I discussed in the last perhaps 2 sessions, it can be summarized. It can be summarized in the 5 aspects, 5 stages that I discussed. Do you remember the 5 stages? Qualified seeker, approaching the teacher, approaching the teacher with a humility. So once I am a qualified seeker, I'm aware of it. I have to keep aside my own projections and opinions and imagined pleasure. I have to keep it aside in order to realize the real self. Otherwise, it is not going to happen. Should I give you an example? You see how our Eastern wisdom combines this. I'm just giving one example. When that topic comes, I will take it deeply. You know that 3 gunas are there, and we also say that there are 5 elements. So now take up the one element. The first element is the space or the ether. Now, when the ether combines with the satoguna, it gives you the faculty of hearing. When the same space combines with, interacts with, or combines with rajoguna, it gives you the speech. And when the same space combines with tamoguna, it gives you an object in the form of a word. Oh, here is Dennis. So then for mind, Dennis is an object, Ashok is an object. Also, the space interacts with satoguna, the space interacts with rajoguna, space interacts with tamoguna. What are the three gunas? Matter. What is the space? Matter. So whether I'm hearing, whether I'm talking, and whether I'm using the words, it is all about the matter. I'm different than that. So you have such a beautiful permutation and combination. So we simply thought there are three gunas and five elements. No, no. So we are going to understand all those aspects. So we have summarized into the five aspects. One is qualified seeker, and you can find out. You have to contemplate and reflect what you have learned before, that where the Mangalacharan comes, where the four connection comes, what exactly it means by 360-degree understanding with reference to a qualified seeker, how to approach. That is the second aspect. And third aspect is listening and learning that we are going to start. And then we have a practice, contemplation and reflection. And fifth is the result. What is the result? Result is awakening. That is our goal. That is our goal of uh, that is our ultimate goal in the journey of Eastern wisdom, which is self-discovery. So it means when you understand, it is known as Panchpada, any five aspects. So, so I have, you are compressed in, the master has compressed from 360-degree understanding and its steps, 9 steps, and also the 4 problems of the mind. It has been compressed into the 5 aspects. You can include all those aspects, you have to work on it and contemplate and reflect that how all those aspects can be summarized. And so you should remember only the 5 aspects. Am I approaching the teacher today and the knowledge today with awareness or half sleep? Qualified seeker. So one day you are sleeping, another day you are listening, third day you have a rajasic activity. The mind is wandering, and that is why it is taking a time. It results into it boils down to the 4 problems. This master lived in 13th century, almost 750 or 800 years ago. Name is Vidyaranya, a great master, a visionary, a philosopher, a polymath. He lived in abject poverty, so he made lot of effort to earn some money, but then his mind was directed to learning and understanding this Eastern wisdom. He reached to the state of realization. And then he became the minister of one of the kingdom. He had no worries about the wealth. Maybe it took about 10 to 15 years. This master composed more than 10,000 verses. In those days, he wrote it on the bamboo sticks, with the natural colors. His personality was so influencing and mesmerizing that his brother was inspired by his presence in living in the same house. And he also became one of the great masters. So whatever the verses he has written, his brother gave commentaries on those verses because he was living with him. So how to understand each and every concept in the principle. His verses is a brilliant piece of work in the 13th century. Not only his brother, but his sister was also inspired. His sister was also inspired. So during that period, he was unknown. He was known as one of the greatest masters ever lived. There are many books. We are referring to the book Panhdasi. Panhdasi is the name of the book. It has 15 chapters. 15 chapters. What he explains the first five. What is our real self? We say a real self is absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. That is how we explain. So he wrote 5 chapters on existence. Existence also means the truth. Existence also means what exactly is the real. How to understand what exactly is the real. 5 chapters. 5 chapters he wrote on consciousness. What exactly is the consciousness? How it is different from the mind and the brain. 13th century. We are talking now brain, mind, and consciousness of modern science. And the rest 5 chapters, he devoted that what exactly is the pleasure, happiness, and permanent happiness. So think of it, 4 problems of the mind. He solved, he resolved all the 4 problems of the mind. And once we understand, I can bet you if you go through the entire Panchadashi, understanding, you do not study like a fiction. Once you have understood it, you cannot be the same person again. That is the beauty, that is the power of his writing. Profound poetic beauty, profound insight. Every verse that he has written. You simply understand it. You cannot reject his the way he explains the things. That is what we are going to start. I'm just giving an introduction. This name is Vidyaranya, and no master, no, you see that? I will say one thing more. Whenever many masters or coaches in US or in Western world, they talk about, they give a talk, and I can figure out that this concept and this principle has been taken from Vidyaranya. Perhaps either they are hiding it for the sake of hiding, or they are they have really learned from another teacher. Any principle you talk about it, and I can give you the reference. This is the verse this modern coach and coach and mentors are talking about. So I told you, we say the real self is Sat Chit Anand. Not 3, they are 1. But for the sake of understanding, we say it is existence, consciousness, bliss. What a beautiful commentary he left for us to understand that real self is of the nature of pure existence or the real, or you can say the consciousness and bliss. Bliss is the permanent happiness. That is the explanation. Only the 3 words he explains in 15 chapters. Panchadashi. beautiful way to understand. But understand that you are a seeker. Go to the 5 steps. You are a qualified seeker. You know how to approach to the knowledge. You know how listening and learning. You contemplate and reflect. Then only it results into awakening. Not you are not a qualified seeker and you say, "Oh no, this is not for me." Yes, it's better. Leave it. So the study of this, each and every verse gives you an in-depth understanding of your emotions, your feeling, your anger, your hesitation, your peace and happiness, pure consciousness, reflected consciousness. Each and every aspect has been understood clearly. 15 chapters. The first chapter I told you talks about what is real, what is sat, what is existence. The 6th to 10th, middle 5 chapters talks about the consciousness. What exactly is the consciousness? And the way I just explained you, space to the Rajoguna, there's space to uh, Satoguna, there's space to Tamoguna. So whenever I see the object, the consciousness is reflected in the mind, and then the mind becomes aware of the space. And when I see any object, there is a tamasic guna here. Rajasic guna is here. Now I started speaking. And then the faculty of the hearing, the sense organ, satoguna, motor organs, rajoguna, objects that I see. eh, Objects I see because of the tamoguna. When I transcend all the 3 gunas, I find only the real self. That is the beauty of this text. In the first 5 chapters, I told you that we will discuss, we will understand what is this real and what is this, mm, what is the existence. So whether I say existence or real, I will use different words. So make it sure. So we have to understand. How we have to understand? So we have a higher level of discernment in the first chapter, higher level of a discernment between the real and the unreal. That is our first chapter. Second chapter is a discernment of the 5 great elements. I gave you one example, 5 elements. How how the water mixes with the satoguna and what it gives rise to. Rajoguna, what it gives rise to. It's a beauty. It's a masterpiece. And then third chapter, we will understand discernment between the 5 layers of our experiences. Until now, those who have studied yoga, you have only understood the 5 sheets, 5 covering. Huh? But here we have to understand in terms of experiences. Once you understand, you cannot deny it. When you cannot deny it, the doubt is removed. And when the doubt is removed, you live into that awareness. And the 5th chapter, that, oh no, here is Brandy and I am here. So there is a duality. How that dual experiences comes. That duality is a delusion or it's a real. That is the 4th chapter. When I say the real self is all pervading, we are all one reality, I have to understand that. At the transactional level, we are definitely different. But at the absolute level, we are only one real self. So we will follow the teachings of this great man. In the fifth chapter, he concludes He says, when I make a statement that I am the real self, realize it, recognize it, live into that. So after 4 steps of discernment in different categories. That is the beauty of the first 5 chapters. But now, if you talk about the first 5 chapters, let us talk about the next 5 chapters, which is known as first next 5 chapters, which talks about consciousness, only consciousness. So he makes it very clear that what exactly is the mind. I become aware of you because of the mind. So the he refers, the mind is a reflected consciousness, nothing less, nothing more. Chapter 6. He says, so I have to discern again. Here is a reflected consciousness, and here is a pure consciousness. Such a beauty of his writing means that he reached to the highest level of realization and awakening. So he talks about the concept of the mind, intellect, ego, memory, all together as a reflected consciousness in the 6th chapter. And in the 7th chapter, he talks about your mind is satisfied eating pasta, going on a vacation. So he says, what exactly is the satisfaction? Look at the subject. I'm just giving you a brief of his uh, his masterpiece. What do you mean by satisfaction? I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied. We often use. What is that satisfaction in relationship to the consciousness? What is this contentment? And how it is different from the real self? Beauty, masterpiece. Then he helps us to recognize that how come that real self is pure consciousness. That real self is pure consciousness. It is independent. In the 8th chapter. And in the 9th chapter, then he says, what exactly? I'm using a different phrase. Understand that and note down that word and think of it. What exactly is the consciousness of meditation? Have you heard the phrase, new phrase? What exactly is the consciousness of meditation? No, I don't know. I succeeded in meditation. I lived into. What exactly is that consciousness of meditation? Look at the way he uses these. And then what happens? How the world now. In the beginning, the world was delusion. It is causes the suffering. We are covering that in Mondays and Thursdays. Huh? Self-created world is a delusion. But now in the 10th chapter, he says how the entire world is nothing but a play of the play in the consciousness. It is fun and play in the consciousness all the time. And who plays, how the play takes place only in the consciousness. That is another subject matter he deals in the 10th chapter. And then comes that we all are seekers of happiness. We all are seekers of happiness. So, next, the last 5 chapters, he deals with happiness. Possibly all these 15 chapters contains about 700 or 800 verses. So if you understand each and every verse and you move with this master, you cannot be the same person again. I can bet you. So the last 5 chapters talks about Yogananda. The name of the topic, name of the chapter is Yogananda. Yoga, you already know. Ananda means the bliss. So it means what is the bliss of yoga? What is the permanent happiness of yoga? So he doesn't say that yoga is just doing, don't mind it, yoga is doing headstand pose and breathing and fire of breath. No, he says what exactly is the bliss of yoga. In the 12th chapter, he deals with one is what is the bliss of yoga, and then what is the bliss of the real self. What exactly is? What is this ananda? Intellectually, he dwells deeply and he takes you there. 13th chapter, he dwells deeply in the bliss of the non duality. Non duality means that when I experience that real self is all pervading, what exactly happens? What is that experience like it? The bliss of non duality. But how it comes, that he deals with the bliss of knowledge in the 14th chapter. And in the 15th chapter, he concludes the bliss by understanding that day by day we experience the sensual pleasure with different objects. Is there is a pleasure? Is there a pleasure in the objects of the senses? Any object of the senses, whether it's a taste, or hearing, or eyes, or touch. And he helps us to reach that you are the real self, you are the pure consciousness, that consciousness is the existence, that consciousness is the state of nature of pure bliss, the sweetness of a sugar. You have sugar cube, you have sugar powder, you have candies, you have ice cream, but the sweetness of a sugar does not change at all. You are that sweetness of a sugar. So, in the last 5 chapters, say the chapter 1, he deals with that how the practice of yoga, any practice of yoga, now include Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Mantra Yoga, etc., etc. That is his genius. We only perfect only one school of yoga, even that is not complete. He summarizes that. He says that how the practice of yoga can lead to the experience of the bliss. So your focus should be there. Atmananda, the bliss of the self. In the 12th chapter, he discusses the understanding that how the permanent happiness can be found within oneself, not outside. And once you listen to him, understand him, the next day, because you loved pasta and the pasta is on your table, your mind goes that I'm experiencing the happiness inside that is being projected on the pasta as a pleasure. That is the beauty of his teaching. The same thing, just go to the adverse. You have a pain in the knee, and you still see the consciousness of that permanent state of the happiness is veiled by the identification with the body experiencing the pain in the mind. Are you getting it? That is the beauty of this master. You cannot ignore, you cannot reject him. He talks to us like a daily experiences. So he talks about in the 12th chapter is the bliss, the permanent happiness of the self. Permanent happiness of the self. And then he experiences that You have to understand. The master inspires us, says that you have to understand that permanent nature, permanent happiness, that one consciousness, that existence is only one, one name, that is the real self. And if it is only one, then there is no two, but I experience the two. I experience the multiplicity. I experience the monitor and the internet, and I see my image and I see your images. And there are so many people, so many objects. He says, no, there's only one. It's a non dual consciousness. His reasoning, his approach, you understand it, you cannot ignore it. You cannot ignore it. You cannot reject it. And so the next day you wake up in the morning and you meet your honey, you see the oneness inside. He takes us to a transformational level. Transforms, it's a metamorphosis. That is the bliss of non-duality. He gives the title of his chapter, the bliss, the permanent happiness of the non-duality. Means mind drops that duality. Mind duality is a delusion. You drop that delusion, you drop that duality, even while living at the transactional level with the duality. At the transactional level, yes, we have to live with the duality, but inside you experience that non dual consciousness. What a beauty. And the 14th chapter, he says Vidyananda. So we have discussed about three types of the permanent happiness. And in the 14th chapter, he says all the three are realized by the knowledge. And that knowledge of the real self is of the nature of permanent happiness. I like pasta, so I have to go to the kitchen. I have to cook it. I have to serve into the plate. And then I have to eat. So while eating, that pasta touches my tongue. And that gives me a sense of pleasure. So it takes lot of time and effort to prepare, to cook it, and to put it into the mouth. Master, what the master is saying. I'm just giving you a reflection, a brief idea of this. He says the bliss of the knowledge. Knowledge, it means the knowledge is realized and you are in the state of permanent happiness. You need not to cook anything. That is the beauty and understanding of this master, the height of this knowledge. So he emphasizes that the study, the text of the Eastern wisdom, and you have to extract that knowledge by understanding. And then he makes it clear, completely clear. The pleasure that we experience in the past, or any sensual pleasure, or with any object, is basically a projection of the same permanent happiness in you. It is the projection. So why you are looking for a projection? Do you see the connection? In the second 5 chapters, the first topic is the consciousness and reflected consciousness. So there you are aware and you continue the journey. You reach to the 15th chapter. Oh, the pleasure and the pain are the experiences of reflected consciousness. That reflected consciousness contains the I thought. That I thought I'm experiencing the pleasure in the past. The effect is there. Both are projections. But after all, I experience the pleasure. So the master says, yes, that is your projected happiness. Why you are looking at the projected sunlight reflected through a mirror? Directly look at the sun from where it is coming. And that sun is the real self. Think. Just I'm giving you a brief of these 15 chapters, an introduction of our great master, the way he has written. He has written this entire almost 600 to 700 verses. I'll tell you specific number of verses. And his master was so much, his brother was so much inspired. He wrote a commentary on that. And that runs into thousands of pages. So I will definitely pick up his commentary because the way he presented, the way he commented, he was also a genius. And then his sister. When we are a seeker, we have that. Seeker means inside. Body does not change. Your mental state, your temperament, your inspiration, your aspiration. So I imagine that he could influence just by his writing, just by his behavior, just by his attitude, just by his living. He never told his brother to write a commentary. He never told his sister to write a book. Oh, he keeps on singing before sleeping, waking up in the morning. And in those days, he wrote the entire text with a bamboo stick with the natural colors. Many, I think I would say hundreds of pages are preserved. Real self, Vidyaranya. Panhdasi is like a compass that guides the seeker through the vast ocean of spiritual knowledge. It includes everything, but focus is on that you are the real self. It starts with that he just a pointer. In the first chapter, once we start with the first verse, and then we will see how the five aspects are presented there. And from the second and third verses, we understand. Then he gives a pointer. Oh, do you see the sun? The finger is not the sun. He points out, oh, that is the real self. He never talks about that is the real self, but he says, is it real self or not? So your doubt is removed. So you don't have any doubt. Importance of viveka, importance of discernment in a systematic way. The role of the consciousness is understanding the nature of the reality and the value of recognizing the sensual pleasure. He never says you leave this, you reject this, you control this. He says understand it. When I understand pleasure is not contained in the past, obviously, then what happens? I'm not attached. My attachment dissolves. My craving dissolves. My obsession goes away. That is the power of the knowledge of his teaching. I told you that no one is left behind. Today I'm revealing that majority of many people talks to me about there is some coach, there's a Tony name, or there are some other coaches. I heard them, and when I heard them, I say, oh, this is the verse he's referring. But he is not giving a credit to this master. Hey, Eckhart Tolle. He speaks, and I will refer you. But in a traditional teaching, we give due respect to those teachers from where we extract the teaching. So this text is all about self-inquiry. I told you, do you remember the self-inquiry, self-discovery, where the discernment is a special discovery. Normal discovery, you scientific protocol, you can create a scientific protocol and you do the research. In scientific discovery, we don't need too much of discernment. Here we need not only the discernment, but also what is false has to be understood clearly. Yes, so obviously, we are proceeding ahead, and so we'll take each verse first from the first chapter. We'll understand the title of the first chapter, why he gave the title, and then we will understand the first verse. And the moment I will speak of the first verse, your mind will go back and understand, oh, this is what you have taught us about the 360-degree understanding, about the 9 steps, about the 4 problems. So he directly starts with the main subject. So he wrote in the book that this is only for the qualified seeker. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Place awareness. It's a knowledge, only the knowledge part. So let us see today the knowledge part, uh, the place, I'm aware of the place. So at present, it is the reflected consciousness. I'm aware of the place. Why? Because I'm aware of the body. See that? And the position of the body. So the mind is grossified, if I use the word. And we are human being. We are aware. Intellect can understand, make a choice, and hold on to that choice. Eyes closed, ears attentive to listening to gain the knowledge. And I've already experienced you. I've already gave you one reference. Space satoguna, space rajoguna, space tamoguna. All are happening through the reflected consciousness. So when you claim I'm hearing, and when you examine I'm hearing, oh my God, this is what it is happening. So happy pose. Directly applying the knowledge. I'm aware of the space. The space cannot be seen by the sense organs. So there is a knower, a seer, or you can say experiencer of the space without senses. So there is the knower and the seer, independent. Knower is independent of the senses and also of the mind. Whether you say knower, seer, the moment you say experiencer, it pertains to the sense organs. Experiencer, experience the sensations. So we recheck it, move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes. Body is an object. Move the mind on the entire body from the top of the head to the toes, slowly, gently. We're not in a hurry. And awaken to the sensation where the mind moves. You will experience, that is what I have been saying, sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So, the experience of the sensation, there has to be an object, and the senses must be engaged, identified. So, we have a sensation in the body, we have a comfort in the mind. You don't see the comfort, you are a knower of the comfort. It's very difficult to say, I experience good sensation because I'm not the body. I'm comfortable. No, I identify with the mind. Experience of comfort takes place in the mind. And steadiness. Now, see, this experience of the steadiness in the body, not off the body, comes from somewhere else. Why you say it comes somewhere else? I use the will. Use the will, yes. I force the body to be still. Use it. Do you think by your for enforcing the steadiness in the body, body is still? No, body constantly moves. That is the nature of the body. The blood circulation, the breath. So you're talking of relative steadiness. We are searching the absolute consciousness. Even though it helps. So it is the steadiness in the body. It is not the steadiness of the body. More also. No, but I forget it again. That is why we have to repeat it. We have to do it again and again and again and again. Traffic jam on the highway. Nothing happens to the highway. Highway remains as it is. It doesn't move. The birds are moving in the sky. Nothing happens to the sky. There is a storm, tsunami. Now, in US, from June to September or October, it is the season of storm, hurricane. The water remains the same. Look at it. So the knower never changes. What changes is the object perceived. And whatever the object perceived, starting from the house, car, our relations, then come to the body and the mind and the intellect and the ego, they are constantly changing. They cannot be the knower. We are the knower of all. That knower does not change. No, my knower changes. You can say that. Vidyaranya, this master is far excellent, a great genius. Huh? but my knower changes. So he puts the logic that if today knower has experienced the pain in the body, and tomorrow there is another knower, that knower is totally fresh. It cannot recall the pain that you have experienced yesterday. No, no, I'm still having a pain. So it is the same knower. Hmm? Same knower. That knower, or you can say that awareness is aware of sensation, comfort, and steadiness. That knower is aware, or you, there is an awareness of the body and the sensation. So in deep inside your head, you're separating. That is, we are doing a discernment at a very subtle level. And that knower is also experiencing the movement of the breath in and out. It is also aware of the movement of the breath. When you say in and out, it is knower of the body, where the breath goes in and out. It is not going inside you, it is not coming out of you. It doesn't touch you. Do you see that? And he uses the word be natural. Be natural means the mind is not acting like a doer, just an awareness. Or I can say we are not doing anything at all. We are alive. So, alive, conscious. The intellect knows it. So, we use another operating principle in this state. Car is an instrument and we are the driver. It's a near example, not a perfect example. Car contains many secondary instruments like engine, pedal, brake, four wheels. How car runs by many instruments, assembly of instruments. Start the key. Do you know what I'm taking you to? The entire body mind complex. So we put the key in, engine starts, pedal car runs, steering, continue controlling the line or the lane. Body is a great instrument. Know it, just an awareness. Feel the so body mind complex, whether I feel the sensation, any object, any thought, feeling, emotions, good, bad, high, low, pain, pleasure. Oh, it is belongs to the instrument, not to me. At present, we are not doing anything to the body, but the body is still working, not doing anything to the mind. The mind is still working. body mind complex. Sometimes we press the pedal in the neutral gear of the car I'm talking about. Engine runs fast, but the wheels do not move. We do it all the time in a waking state, causes anxiety, reaction, sadness, and worries. I'm using my own metaphors, my own understanding. Sometime we press the pedal in the neutral gear, engine runs fast, but the wheels do not move. And we do it all the time in a waking state. Causes anxiety, reactions, sadness, worries. Worries in the present, yes or no? We take mind to the past, reverse gear, and then you know what happens. Instead of contemplation, our worries takes over. Today, let us stick to this understanding. Body is in the present, clear. We take the mind to the past, reverse gear. So either it hits and we are in pain, or it takes us to the past pleasure. Is body an instrument? Yes. Is the mind instrument? Yes. Is the thought instrument? Yes. Are the senses and their respective objects are the instrument? Yes. The intellect separates the knower and the object, knower and the known. Any thought, feeling, emotions, object jumps into your mind and instantly you recognize, oh, yes. Hmm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, left hand. Lift your Buddha palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences. How are you, Brandy?
Morning. I'm good. Um, Today's meditation and reflection on the lesson was a little bit about organizing, just like what happens in the body and the senses, and then how much of that's really happening in the mind, but the fact that none of it's who we really are, which is like this, that's fundamental to our practice, but sometimes it needs to be, I guess, reframed and organized. For me, that's
Yes, yes, it demands a lot of contemplation and reflection to separate knower from the known. The moment known appears means that I know anything. I experience anything in the world. And the moment that I separate, yes, I know, but that is an object, and I know is the knower. The chain starts. Thank you. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. Yeah, kind of similar to Brandy. The lesson. I feel like we're setting the stage for something big to come, and it's all around this space and this separation. So I found that fascinating. Um, the meditation. I was actually, an ice cube fell in our freezer, like it was made and it dropped down, and right before you went home, and that kind of startled me and brought me out of a very deep meditation. So thank you.
Good, good. Yes, we are setting the stage, but now the final. Sat Chit Anand, the real self is absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. At a very not exact metaphor, but you can take the metaphor. Highway doesn't change, on which the traffic moves. Clear? So that highway is the real self on which can you add body mind complex moves. And then further bring it down to the body mind complex. Body has many systems, sense organ, motor organs, energy, fuel, engine, and the mind and pain and pleasure. Everything moves. Traffic jam, anxiety. Traffic is moving slowly, smoothly. I feel that, I'm living in pleasure, I'm happy, but I'm ignorant. At the same time, I'm ignorant. That is the reflection. I'll start talking in those languages which Vidyaranya talks about it and pick it up. How are you, Dennis? Oh, sorry, Jerry. Jerry.
Thank you, sir. It was very good. It's the Eastern wisdom, no matter where it comes, which master, it all boils down to the same. And it's a really wonderful, sometimes I feel like it's a repetition, and it is. And we need it to be, because there's so many layers, I suppose, of ignorance and impressions. So we need all those layers to finally get the aha at some point. But my takeaway, when you said stepping on the gas and the wheels are going nowhere, we're like that. We spin our wheels and go nowhere because of that ignorance and the delusion and not knowing. So, but when the knower never says I'm not complete, never says that this makes me happy or sad, never says any of those things. And so if we are saying wanting more, thinking we're not enough, any of those things, then we know we have a lot of work to do still.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It reminded me that I don't have the money today.
Yeah.
I'm still there. So after a month, I earned $10,000. I'm still there. But I feel as if I have earned $10,000. I have reached somewhere else. No, I bought another house. No, I did not reach anywhere. Are you seeing that? That is what Jerry is referring to. We don't reach anywhere by actions. And by action, yes, we reach, we earn, we marry, we divorce, we have kids, and everything is moving on, but we did not reach anywhere. We are still in the sailing in the same boat of pain and pleasure, hatred and jealousy, duality and a conflict. We did not recognize the absolute. That is what this master is going to talk about. It. How are you, Dennis?
I'm good, thank you. And my meditation was quiet and comfortable, and I was contemplating what is the source of that comfort and how to find it. Regarding the lecture part, the questions that were raised by this author in this book you mentioned, very, very interesting, and I'm looking forward to see how they were answered by this author too.
Yes, Dennis, yes. Dennis, along with Sergey, there is another guy who is they have been very logical. So you never answered their questions in those days that he knows. We live very comfortably when we find that the group is not meant for them. So it's better not to answer because that will bring more confusion. Or then only the two people are learning. The rest are entering into more confusion. So, but that's yes, you have to look forward to see how this master takes us to realize that real self. How are you, Terry?
It was very inspiring to listen to you speak about this teacher.
Yeah.
And I'm also very looking forward to continuing. My meditation was, everything that you said made sense. The metaphors made sense. And my meditation, I think, was just some of my work because the mind was very active, but I didn't really, I just watched it happening.
Mind is very active, means that lot of thoughts, feeling and sensation are there. So it is Rajoguna, and it pertains, that Rajoguna has an object, it pertains to the Tamoguna, and you are experiencing that it is a part of the Satoguna, but they all are matter. It has nothing to do with you. So you are already free.
I don't even think that I had thoughts. It was just the body was trying to bother me. It was trying
Never think that everyone's body bothers in one way or the other. You don't have a special body. We all have the same body.
No, of course. but it was just doing what it was doing.
No,
That's all.
I'm special in a sense, Terry. I'm saying special in a sense. Don't take your mind to that negative aspect that I have a lot of problems.
I
Everyone's
wasn't,
body is the same.
no, I wasn't thinking
Yes,
that.
that is good.
I
That is
just thought, oh, look at the, I just observed it.
beautiful. How are you, sir?
सर मैं ठीक हूँ सर all right nothing to say sir nothing to ask
Yeah, yeah. So please go through it and listen to it, but don't forget 360-degree understanding. It was a reorientation. And then the 9 steps, then the 4 problems. So if you are aware of all those aspects, from where he starts, this master starts the journey of the self-discovery. That is all for today. Thank you very much.
thank you sir namaste everyone
Namaste.
Namaste.